Okay, and here start with our theory part. So, as you remember, in our first lessons, we have discussed that our subject will be divided into three parts, and one of the biggest part is about the reflective journal, about your reflective. Reflective is about the writing, and then most likely reflective is how to linkage the theory into your practical things. Okay, so the practical things are you're doing the project, and then you're taking video, you're using the cutting edge technologies to do something, to do some social or we say the community project, so service learning project. But what is the theory part? And then today we are going to discuss about the theory part. So the theory part is about the digital divide. Okay, digital divide, DD. And yeah, today's your teaching is based on the rubrics, and then rubrics is based on the internal learning outcome. This one, okay. So the internal learning outcome is somehow, or I will say that our syllabus and also our rubrics and also our internal learning outcome is uploaded to our blackboard. Okay, so if you want to have a look with the internal learning outcome, so you can go to the blackboard and check about the syllabus of COM 1201. Okay, but here we will want to highlight some of the interesting points or some of the key points about today's lessons. Okay, so today in the internal outcomes, we are focused on one internal outcome is demonstrate an awareness of the impact of the informations or digital device. Okay, so this is one of your internal outcome. As I have mentioned before, in this subject, we are going to create some social project, or we are going to create some product and then serving the underprivileged group, and our underprivileged group is profound and multiple learning disabled children, or you can say SEN students. Special education is more broader way to explain the situations. Okay, so beside create the project, and then of course you need to include some of your thinkings and then some of your reflections inside your reflective journal, and also your presentation of your final of your about your final presentations about your product. And here we would like to ask you to demonstrate the linkage between those social disadvantage and then the availability of using the appropriate technologies. Okay, so you are going to write some reflective journal. At least you need to write 3 reflective journal and 1 reflective report, which is around 2,000 to 3,000 word. And then to write this 2,000 or 3,000 word, you cannot just express your personal feelings. Okay, yeah, because you are a university student, and I'm sorry that you need to communicate with each other, and then you need to know the criteria of the other. Just like when you go outside and then work, and then you need to apply for some funding, or you need to do some things for your company. So definitely they have some KPI, key performance indicator, or somehow they have some key points about their needs. Okay, about their needs. And then when you finish your project, you need to write a report and then say that how successful your project, and then how your project or outcome can fit the needs or key points of your company or the KPI of your company. Okay, and this is one of the practice of this class. So how your reflective journal can linkage the needs of our project, okay, or can linkage the needs of this internal learning outcome. Okay, this one, internal learning outcome. So it's a good practice, because somehow when you go outside to work, you really need to trigger the KPI of your company. You cannot just for the reflective journal, you cannot just express your feelings or express your personal feeling. Otherwise, your senior management or the funding provider will think that, oh, you have to do something good, but it's nothing related to me. So somehow I would like to support you, but I cannot find a way, or I cannot find a point to support your project or your thinking, and I cannot find any point to evaluate your project. So in another words, to explain our the core relationship of this lesson is we are going to teach you how to reflect, or teach you the keywords, okay, keywords that we need to reflect on the relationship between the surface learning project, surface learning activity, and the experience with your academic content of the subject. Okay, so that means in this lessons we are going to tell you some backgrounds, and then you can find the background from the internet or from the other, especially from your project, and then turn into some keywords, and then turn into some key reference, and then put into the reflective journal. Okay, put it into your reflective journal, and aim at a higher grade. Okay, and then quite higher grade. So this one is quite important to your subject, especially about your especially about grades, and then further on. Especially about when you want to apply the funding, or writing a appraisal, or writing some report to reflect the success of your project. Okay. Yes, for the very beginning, so similar to other subject, when you are going to start your writing, start your reflective journal, or start your academic writing. So the first one is you need to define the terms, define the keywords, define the key terms. So in this subject, and then especially about your reflective journal, so we need to define what is digital device. Okay, what is digital device? So there are lots of definitions. For example, here digital device is about the inequality between the groups in terms of access, use of, or knowledge of the information and the communicating technologies. Okay, so this is one of the definitions, but another one I think is easier to understand. The digital divide is the most commonly defined as the gap, okay, as the gap between those individuals and the community that have and do not have access to the information technologies that are informing our life. Okay, so I love this definitions because it's easy to understand. It's all the thing is about the gap. Okay, it's about the gap between those who can use the technologies and who cannot use the technologies. Okay, so I love computing, I love computer science, I love technology. So let me have a brief introduction about the computer, and then how the computer changed the life of the other people, including me. So I will explain my personal experience, or about a short history about my life. Okay, so if you remember, so the first commercial computer comes to our human life in around 1950 to 1960. So at that time it's IBM, International Business Machine. And then at that time, the IBM created a mainframe computer, which is a really large computer. For each computer, although the computation power is similar to an iPhone, but at that time the computer is almost 3 to 4 times similar to our lecture room. Okay, it's really big. And then at that time, the computer is only using for the accounting, for the tasks, for the banking, and then only a small group of people can know or understand the technologies of computer. They know the programming, and then they can do something with the computer. For the others, they know there is a computer, but it's only a big machine. So many years ago, when the first mainframe computer comes, and then the inventor about the mainframe computer, he told the other people that I cannot emergence the world with more than 5 computers. Okay, with more than 5 computers. So the world is changing. So now we can say that I cannot emergence the world or a people without less than 5 computer device for you use. For example, for me, I have the notebooks, I have the mobile phones, and I have the tablet, and then I have the PS4, I have the there are lots of different personal devices. So exactly remember, I have more than 10 different devices, including my smartphone connected to the internet, and then I'm carrying them or use for every day. Okay, so there are lots. Okay, so at that time, 1950 to 1980, so not lots of the people know how the computer is running, or know how the computer is working at that time. So computer technologies is nothing related to our human life, and then at that time, of course, no one talk about the digital device because no one knows what's the things behind the computer. So there is a big change. The big change is driven by the university and of course the Steve Jobs. Okay, so in 1980, nearly 1980. So there are a group of people in the university, and then a group, of course, Steve Jobs. They think that computer technology should not owned by one company. Okay, should not owned by one company, and then they think that the computer technologies should allow lots of the people to enjoy and then to feel it, because yeah, you can change the world, and then they think they agree that computer technology is really powerful. So at that time they create a PC, personal computer, or you can say a Mac at that time. Okay, so 980. So starting from that point, so lots of the people they can taste and then they can experience in computer. So lots of the games, lots of the word processing are there, lots of the emails are there. So they are changing. Start from that point, they are changing the world. And then people start to use the computer technologies in their daily life, and then of course some of the people is affected by the computer technologies. Not only a small group of people. For example, the secretary. Okay, because they use the email to process the business informations, and then the number of secretary that or administrator that requires for the business project decrease. Okay. So at that time, or somehow about the word processing, because for the personal computer you can do the word processing by your own. So it affects lots of the secretary and then also of the administrative officer. So it changed the world. And at that time, I'm only a primary school student, and I start to use the computer. I feel the power of the computer, and we think it's really powerful. And then at that time, I connect to the outside world. So before the internet, I used the BBS. Okay, in my primary school, I used the BBS and then communicate with the other. BBS is somehow about the bullet point system. So you are using the task to communicate with the other, to communicate information with the other. Because at that time we paid the Super Nintendo, and then we really want to download the games from the BBS. So we start to learn how to download the illegal copy of the computer game at that time. And then the PC is one of the training points, and then another training point is 1994. Yeah, it's about my secondary school. It should be Form 2, Form 1 or Form 2, I cannot remember. At that time in Hong Kong, we start to have internet, and at that time the internet is owned by the Chinese University, CU. Okay, so we pay the PNet, and then we we know what is www, and then we know what is the internet, and then there are lots of beautiful websites with beautiful information, with beautiful picture, and then we start to exchange the information. Okay, so internet in 1994 is another changing point of people, because people start to use even lots of the organization, they start to build their own websites. They use the email, they use different way to communicate with each other. So it's 1994. And then the time changed from the W1 to W2. Okay, so W1 to W2. So W2 is something is changing the world at that time in year 2000. So W1 is about the simple websites, and then W2 is about the internet. Okay, it's about the platform on the internet. Okay, so at that time we start to have a Facebook, we start to have eBay, we start to have lots of different platforms that we are still enjoying this at this moment. So they target on the user generated content, and then they start to have platform to consolidate all the information to one, and this kind of behavior is changing the world. Okay, in year 2000. And because of that, so in year 2000, so some people have these kinds of awareness, and then say that year 2000, and then say that there is some digital divide. Okay, for those who can use the technologies to get the information, and who cannot use the technologies to get the information. So it changed the world. It changed a lot. Okay. Because at that time, in year 2000, I guess you are only 2 or 3 years old, kind of maybe 2. Okay, so I'm already a university student, and then it really changed a lot, because at that time, my mom, my father, they are still reading the newspaper. They're still reading the newspaper, and somehow I already use the internet to get the information that I want. Okay, so it's really fast, and then it's update because for the TV or for the podcast, for example, TVB or ATV at the time, so or the newspaper, so they will update all the information once a day. But for the internet, you can update the informations, okay, anytime, any minutes, and any seconds, okay. And then at that time, so some of the people think that are starting to have the awareness, and then starting to think there is a problem, okay, there is a problem, and then this problem is somehow some of the people say is improving, and then some of the people say the problem is enlarged and enlarged and enlarged. So depends on different situation, and then we will discuss later. In 2007 or 2008, you have the iPhone, and then starting to have the iPhones, and then now for all of us, so we can do the communication online, and then lots of the information is put to our smartphones in every seconds, in every seconds, or even in every milliseconds. Okay, so the digital device changes the behavior of how we receive the informations. And because yeah, of course, nowadays you seldom use your mobile phone, most likely, or you seldom read your newspaper. Most likely you get the information from the Twitter, Facebook, or IG, or other platforms. Okay, so you will not read your information, so it creates lots of the problem between the other people. For example, the way that you receive the informations, the ways that your mother or father receive the information, the ways that your grandmother receive the information. Okay, because the way that they receive the information and the speed that they receive the information is changing, so somehow it create digital device. Okay, and then we will discuss the situations yeah, later and how the situation is doing in the whole world, and then the situation is changing in the whole world, and also changing in Hong Kong. Okay, to make it simple, so it's about the gap. Okay, here is about the gap between those who can use and who cannot use the technologies. Okay, so there are a couple of definitions. For example, access to the information, and then communication technologies, that means the ICT. Okay, ICT, access to the content that benefit them socially and economically. So we will explain this case later. Okay, in our next slides we will explain what is the meaning, or do we have any example about the socially and then economically situations. Okay, the third one is about the skill. Here, yeah, it's about the skill that advance the ICT service. For example, most likely is teenager, they have the advanced skills to get the information. For the old people, they do not have these kinds of advanced skills. Okay, and then of course it's about the money, about the budget, to say that they have the ability to pay the digital service or not. Okay, for example, in Hong Kong, the situations of your broadband service, the situations of the smartphone, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so here we need to talk about the impact of the digital device, and then how it affects our daily life in different area. Yes, the first thing is about the safety. Okay, so the most important things about the safety. So today, of course, for you guys teenagers, so it's easy to get the information. So I use an example to talk about how the difference between getting information and then provide the and put you into a safety conditions. So just like last year, right? So we have lots of the protests, and then there are lots of the peoples, and then lots of the area may be dangerous. Okay. So for you guys or for me, it's easy. We can get the information from the Facebook, from the IG, from your fans, and then there are lots of live shows. Okay, so there are lots of information which is yeah, is we update, and then it's live, right? It's live, and then you can watch the situations, and then you can know where is the safety place, and then where is not the safety place. Okay, so when you compare with those who cannot access to the information or unable to access to the information. For example, your grandmother, your grandfather, so they do not have Facebook, or if they have the Facebook, they do not have lots of the, because the people feed the information or the situation that they receive the information are different, right? They may not have lots of this kind of fans or this kind of channel to receive the live situations, okay, to receive the information from the others, and then it creates problems about their safety. They do not know that hey, there is some conflicts about the, I don't know, about some of the other peoples, and then it's happening in my area now. Okay, they do not know. Okay, so this is something related to safety, and then this is something how this is an example how I try to explain the ways that digital device that you can receive the information and you cannot receive the information create a problem about the safety, and then create a difference about the safety. So this is one of them. Another thing is about the health and of course the emergency service. Okay, so similar to this safety, so the health information is also the similar. The way that you receive the information are different, and then some of them may not be fact-checked. Okay, may not be fact-checked, and then some of the elderly in their channel, for example, maybe WeChat, and then yeah, honestly, for the WeChat there are lots of the information about the health, but lots of the information that is not well fact-checked. Okay, it's not well proof. Okay, so it creates a problem that you receive the information, and for those who cannot receive the information, and then affecting their health. Okay, emergency service, yes, and yeah, it's the similar situation. For example, the 999. Okay, today you will say that dial 999 is really easy because all of you guys now we have a mobile phone, and then we can dial 999 at any time, wherever you want. Okay. So what if maybe the 999 is easy, and maybe the 999 is cannot reach the people that you want. Okay, so maybe we do not talk about the situation in Hong Kong. We can talk about the situation in United States. There are lots of things say that the people cannot reach the 999 service. Okay, 111. Okay, 112 service. Okay, and then for those elderly, so there are lots of things. For those elderly, they do not know how to get the emergency service, okay, because they do not have the internet. The only thing they have is maybe is a telephone, or some of them maybe have the mobile phone, smartphones, maybe have the mobile phone, not smartphones. Okay, so besides that, the emergency call, they do not have any idea about how they can call the police, how they can call the firemen, how they can call the ambulance, etc. Okay, so this is the way how you access to the information, and it changed your life, because today lots of the organizations, of lots of the people, they focus on the new media. Okay, and then lots of the traditional emergency call, or lots of the traditional way to get the information is sharply decreased. For example, now we put all the information on the web, and then it's hard to find the Yelp page. Okay, and then find the emergency call, or find the other support from other organizations. Try to imagine if you are old man, you do not know how to access to the computer, you do not know how to access to the so how can you get the emergency service? Okay. Although you only have a smartphone, so how I can ask for the service to find the correct number that I can dial. Okay, although you can, yeah, if you do not have a smartphone, you only have a mobile phone. So how you can find the number and then dial the number that you want. Okay. Social service. Okay, social service. So yeah, it's another interesting point. For example, you want to find some activity that offered by the government. Of course, today you just go to the internet, and then you can get anything you want. You can get lots of the information. You can get lots of the interesting cars, interesting activity that provided by the government. But again, try the emergence. So if you are elderly, or if you have some problem on reading the websites, or reading the or using the internet, for example, you're blind, or you are the visual impaired people, right? So how can you get the information? Okay, so in another point, so it's hard for those elderly, for example, to get the social service, And then is another point that when you want to get the social service, you need to go to a community center, and then there are lots of existing organization target on those elderly providing the social service to them. So that's why lots of the elderly, they love this kind of the community, because they really know their needs. Okay, they really know their needs, and then they provide the information to them. And it's another point that why there are lots of the old people, they want to stay in the park or go downstairs and then chit chat or exchange the information, because they want some social service. They want to get the support from the government, from their family, etc. Okay, career service. Okay, so yeah, many old good old times, we read the newspaper, we read the classified posts, or we read the jobs TV. Okay, but now you seldom read these kinds of the paperwork, okay, hard copy to get your job. Most likely you just go to the website, right, jobs TV or other website to get your informations. And in this 4 to 5 years, right, the situation also change. Okay, you will not get the career from the website. Okay, you get the career or get this kind of opportunity, this kind of information from your social media. For example, yeah, if you love, you also can add my Facebook, and then I always post the informations about the games. I always post the informations about the computer science. So this kind of job is available from my Facebook website. So today there are lots of different channels beside the website. You can use the social media, you can use the other channel from your fans, and then get your information. Today is, yeah, it's really seldom to find the ad on labor departments, or find the ads from jobs TV or classified posts, etc. Okay. So in short, we need to I need to explain you today. We get the information in different ways. Okay, we get the information in different ways, on the internet, or in different kinds of social media. We get the information from different ways, and then the way that you get the information is different from the others. For those who do not know how to use the internet, for those who do not know how to use the social media, so it created gaps. Okay, it created gaps for them to get to the correct information or get the correct support, and then it created problems. It created digital device. Okay, it created a digital device, and yeah, it affects your daily life. So here we will looking at different situation in the world, and then I will try to explain how the digital device, or how the digital world is changing. Okay, in our situations. So yeah, although we are isolated with each other, and then although to date we you need to watch the video or read the PowerPoint slide before go to our class, and we enjoy lots of the advantage of using the technologies, but still reading this page, right? For example, here urbanization here I use the word is better. Urbanizations. So don't think that the whole world, they are well adapted about the technologies, they are well adapted about the internet and access to the information. Looking at this one, they are only 55%. Okay, 55% of urbanization. Urbanization is somehow about the infrastructure. So without the infrastructure, somehow you cannot access to the internet. So that's why the internet and then the urbanization, they are close to each other, the percentage. Okay, without the Wi-Fi, without the 4G, 5G internet, broadband, without the cable, and in the city, right? So you cannot enjoy the informations. Okay, you cannot enjoy the internet, etc. Okay, and then there are lots of the people in the whole world, they are not easy to access to the internet. Okay, so at least or close to 50%. Okay, close to 50% of the people, they cannot access to the internet. So this is one of the bigger problems. And looking at this one, so because they cannot access to the internet, so somehow they cannot access to the social media. And then the social media today is one of the biggest source for you to get the information. Okay, not because of the website, not because of the government website, right? So all the information you get is from the IG, Facebook, or other social media. Okay, so this is the situation that you have. Okay. Of course, not all the people they have the mobile phone. Okay, not all the people they have the mobile phone. So around 68% of people they have the mobile phones. Okay, having the mobile phones doesn't mean that you have the ability to access to the internet. Okay, so this is another kind of story. So if you want to if you want to read more, so you can find the information why the number of mobile phone user is less than the internet user. Okay, so there are some special situations, but somehow this political situation will not be discussed in our course. Okay, and of course not all the people they are using the mobile phone to access to the social media. Maybe they're using the PC, so only less than 40% of people they are internet user, they're using a mobile phone, so they can get access to the internet anywhere, any times, and then they can connect to the information, connect to the internet, connect to the social media. Less than 40%. Okay. So there is the situations of 2021. Yeah, of course, for the urbanizations, we are improving our world. So the percentage, okay, of the people who can enjoy the electricity, water, and internet, of course, is increasing. Okay, and for the mobile user or internet user, they are almost the same. But we can have a look with this one. Okay, so the active social media user. Maybe fans COVID-19 more and more use, especially about the teenagers or children. Okay, children, primary school children. Okay, so they start to use the social media. They start to use the online learning management system, or Zoom, or Teams, or Google, etc., Google Classroom, etc. So the number of user of the social media is increasing exponentially. So the percentage is almost 15%, close to 30% to now 53%. So almost 15%. Okay. So looking at the distributions about the internet user or about the globalization. So Hong Kong is here. Hong Kong is really good. So nearly 100% of people they can enjoy the internet. But still there are some, okay, there are some who cannot enjoy the internet. We'll discuss in our case. But looking at the whole world, so United States and also the Europe, they are the, I would say that they are the best. So almost 90%. But somehow when you're looking at America or Europe, they cannot achieve 100%. There's still a certain percentage. And then in United States, so around more than 10%, right? More than 10% of the people they cannot enjoy to the internet. And don't think that the situations is access to the internet is really common in the United States. Lots of the area they do not have the infrastructure, and then even in the school they cannot use the internet. They do not have the Wi-Fi, they do not have the broadband, and then that the lots of the people to enjoy the internet. Okay, so they are the best, the United States and Europe. But if you're moving, so in China or in some house in the Eastern Asia, so around 60%, 50 to 60%, 50 to 60%. And then if you're looking at the Africa, they are the worst, only 12%. Okay, so yeah, without the infrastructure, without the internet, so it creates a gap, digital divide for the people to access to the internet. And then we were looking at some case in this this kind of place and how we can improve their situation to get the information. Okay. Yeah, and the situations of the internet user. Yeah, we are doing good, especially in Africa. So when we're looking at the percentage, we have a huge increasement here, almost 40% in Africa, and even in the Southern Asia or Southeast Asia. Okay, so we have nearly double digit of the increasement. It's pretty good. So not only by the area, so we can also looking at the age. Okay, looking at the age. So I'm here. here. I will tell you the exact age. So I'm here. Okay. So somehow this one is the Facebook. Okay. For different social media, they have their age distributions, but most likely they are similar to that these situations. So for the youngest, they cannot access to the Facebook, right? And then for the elderly, they do not know how to use the social media. They do not know how to use the Facebook to get the information. So most likely they are the underprivileged group. And then we are enjoying the social media here. We are enjoying the social media, okay? So somehow, yeah, we create a difference about using the Facebook, about using the different social media, and then we create a difference how we access the information and how they access to the information, okay? And so on, yeah, previously we talked about the Facebook, right? So now with Facebook is here, okay? So don't think that Facebook is common in the whole world, and most likely is only about the United States, okay? United States or some area in the Europe, okay? Some area in the Europe. About the United States or North America, because somehow Facebook is they start here, right? They start here, and then most likely they use the informations. They use yeah, they start to use Facebook, so they adapt to the Facebook, and then they love to share the informations. And the other area, most likely they use the WhatsApp. Okay, so this another famous tools is here. So from the whole world, the rest of the whole world, they are using the WhatsApp. Okay, they are using the WhatsApp. So I would like to ask why there is a difference between using the Facebook and then the WhatsApp. Okay, Facebook Messenger and then WhatsApp. So could I give you 1 minute to think why some area, for example, United States, they really love to use the Facebook Messenger, and then the other, they love to use the WhatsApp. Okay, so 1 minute. So have you paused the video? So if no, start to pause the videos and then use 1 minute to think. So yeah, why some area they are using the Facebook and then some area they're using the WhatsApp. Okay, so here I will tell you the answer. Not only because the Facebook start in North America, so most likely Facebook, they together with your profile, together with the image, together with the information, right? There are lots of photos, and then to share the photo or to exchange the photos or videos, right? It needs lots of the bandwidth. Okay, so for those areas that the infrastructure is really good, that the Wi-Fi or the network is really good, so they love to enjoy to use the they love to use the Facebook, because somehow I can get more information and then I can connect with each other. So for the remaining, so most likely they use the WhatsApp. Okay, they use the WhatsApp because their infrastructure is not as good as you think. And then I want the minimums. Okay, I want the minimums data or minimums information to exchange with each other. Okay, so you create the social device, for example, using the WhatsApp, so the message there is really less, and then most likely you will not exchange lots of the photo inside the WhatsApp. Okay. And then for the Facebook, and then most likely you use the image to or videos to exchange with each other, because it's easy to connect, and then I can trust the other people because I can read the informations of the other people on the web, right? So I create a difference how to receive the informations. Okay, so one more question. So how about here? Okay, so they are using WeChat. Okay, so they are using WeChat. So why they are using WeChat? Okay, besides the political problems, okay, besides the Great Firewall, so can you tell me one reason that they are using WeChat, not the WhatsApp, not the Facebook Messenger? Okay, so again, you can pause the video and then think 1 minute, and then I will tell you the answer. Okay, so have you paused the video? So if yes, I'll tell you the answer now. So the ways that they communicate with each other in this social media are different, right? WhatsApp, and then WhatsApp most likely is the task, and then they want the minimum information to exchange. Facebook, they love to exchange the video, they love to exchange the photo, they love to exchange some multimedia things, and then connect with the great social media. Okay. So how about the WeChat? Okay, beside the political problems, so WeChat somehow is good for our Chinese. Okay, because for the other place, WhatsApp or Facebook or other place, right? They use the keyboard ABCD alphabetical to type in the information, right? It's easy for them to type in ABCD. But try to think about the people in China, and then try to think about the elderly. So try to think about the Chinese word. It's not so easy to type in the Chinese word, okay? Or at least they need to learn, okay? If they're using the handwriting, the speed is really slow, okay? So somehow it creates some boundary for the Chinese people, and also it creates a boundary for the elderly, and it creates a digital divide, okay? Okay. So WeChat is good. So if you still remember, the WeChat start to launch to the market, so they are providing the voice over. Okay, they are providing voice over. You can tap, you can press the button and then send the voice over to the others. Okay, they are the first. Okay, later on they have a better one, just like the bullet times, right? Bullet times. So when you have the voice over, you can immediately change to the Chinese wording and then send into the other. So you need not to type, and then you need not to listen to the voice over. Those and other things, right? So yeah, WeChat is hit. They are really popular in China because for our Chinese, it's hard for us to type in the Chinese character, and then WeChat they start to solve this problem, and then they target on the digital device, and then know the boundary about the Chinese people. So at that time we are underprivileged group, okay? So in social media, in communication or exchange the information, so they target on this digital device and then solve this kind of problem, and then makes WeChat become one of the most popular tools in among the Chinese people, okay? So besides looking at the situation in the whole world, so we can look at the situation in Hong Kong. Okay, so if you are writing your reflective journal, so you can search any report of our government, and then you can find lots of the information. For each 5 to 10 years, we have a big survey about different kinds of peoples, and then there are lots of the data. So in Hong Kong, this few years is better, is close to 90 something. But if you're looking at the data 4 to 5 years ago, so it's around 80. Okay, where's my pen? Just a moment. It's around 80. Okay, not exclude XU thing. It's around 80. Okay, if you go back to the year 2000, it's only 50. Okay, so there are still around 10 something more percent, 10% of our peoples in Hong Kong cannot enjoy the internet service. Okay. So again, so they have different kinds of application to ask whether they have the personal computer or not, or whether they have the smartphone or not. So in this COVID-19, so you know that we are isolated with each other for all our teaching. You need to read watch the videos. You need to read the PowerPoints, right? So if you go back at home, if you do not have a PC, and then if you do not have an internet service, so it creates lots of problem for you to study, the cases. Okay, so school is good because school try to provide a fair environment to all the students. So you wear the same uniform, you have the same textbook, you have the same broadband, or you have the same computer that you can enjoy during the school. But when you go back to home, there are lots of the gap between different kinds of peoples. Okay, maybe your home environment is not good to exchange have the video conferencing or exchange the information with others. Okay, so if you are doing your reflective journal, so you can just go to the any report of our Hong Kong government, search for some information, and then this is the evidence for you to support your reflective journal. Okay, rather than you just express your personal feeling and express your personal feelings, right? So it's not the case about the academic writing. So yeah, if you can provide lots of more facts to support your thinking, so I can give you a higher grade in your reflective journal. So as I told in the previous lines, digital divide somehow is happening, and then we cannot say all of us access to the information are equals. Wherever you are in different country or wherever you are in the same country, but in different age group or using different social media, you have difference between different methods to access to the information, and this is called the digital device. Okay, digital device is happening especially in the industrialized and also between the developing country. So that means for the developed country or industrialized country or urbanizations the country, their infrastructure is better, and then also the method or the way that the citizens can access to the informations are much more easier. Okay, and then the digital device is happening between those peoples who is in the developed country who is really rich, and those people who are in the developed country and poor. Okay, so this is creating an impact for it. So clearly, poor community have low access to the computer and then technology. So, and this is one of the cause of the digital device. Okay. And then there are lots of different statements to say that the ICT is useful or not. Okay, some people say that it's useful. Some people say that it's wasting the money. Okay, it's wasting the money. Just buying the computer, they are not environmental friendly, and then you are upgrading or you are keep changing your smartphones. Okay, so it's wasting of the money. So many years ago we have a mobile phone, and then the mobile phone. I'm sorry, the mobile phone can be used 2 or 3 years, but nowadays, for you, when you are using a smartphone, and most of you guys just change your smartphone each year. So it's kind of some people say it's kind of wasting money. And this kind of money should be redirected to more important area of impact and the real need. For example, yeah, easy to understand is food and also the medicines, especially in the COVID-19, right? So in the COVID-19, so definitely you want the medicines, you want the mask compared with you want the smartphone. But some of the people, especially in the case of Taiwan, right? They even in China, they try to prove that the ICT they can do loss in during the COVID-19. For example, they have the I can say green health codes, and also in Taiwan they have another lots of the application to monitor the distribution of the mass and then to communicate with each other. So ICT is really doing something. So beside the food and also beside the medicine, in my point of view, ICT can also have a key elements or key components inside our society. They are not wasting the money. Okay, they are not wasting the money. And then ICT, yeah, some people say that yes, it opened the people, but it also opened the people up to a new forms of terms. Okay, for example, inside the ICT, by using the social media or Facebook, there are lots of new terms and also lots of the new forms of the crimes related to ICT award. Okay. So I teach another subject which is ethics, and then we talk about ICT could really increase the crime rate or not, okay, or not. So I don't want to spend lots of the time here to discuss. So if you are interested in this case, so you can ask me. I have all the record video, and then you can watch the videos and then say that. But in short, I would like to say that yes, ICT creates some new forms of the crimes or crises for our human lives, but it also creates our minds and then connect with other people to try to solve this kind of problems. Okay, so you connect with the other peoples, and then if all of us are evil, so ICT definitely it turns into a evil tools, right? But somehow, if most of us is planning to doing some good things, is planning to do some interesting exercise, so ICT is really helping us to connect with each other and then create something new, create something good for us. Now the situation is better, but very honestly, before the year 2000, the ICT haven't been mentioned or promoted. Okay, haven't been mentioned of promote. The digital divide haven't been mentioned and promote before year 2000. And after year 2000, the situation is better because some of us have the awareness about the globalizations, about the problem of ICT, and then we start to do something to change the world. Okay, and honestly, ICT can support both social and economic goals. Okay, so we'll discuss later, and improve our people life. Okay, so in this service learning project, so you are able, or you should use some of the ICT some of the ICT applications, and then try to improve the people life, and then create something good for the other peoples, which can benefit to the whole society, benefit to the whole society growth. Okay. And yeah, access to the ICT, definitely they have far benefits than without accessing to the ICT. So this is how we conclude. Otherwise, we just stop all our technological, and then we come back to the cave and become the caveman. ICT, they have or technologists, they have their power to changing the world. So we guys, of course, they also bring the problems, but we guys should handle, or we should try to control this kind of management, so that all of us can be benefit from this kind of tools, and then we will not let the elderly or let the poor or other underprivileged group behind this kind of technology, behind the ICT. With accessing to ICT, definitely they provide the opportunity and the social mobility. So somehow when you know how to use the ICT, and then you can achieve the information, so definitely you can have a better understanding of the knowledge, and then you can have different points of view from the expert all over the world. Okay. Today, there are lots of different platforms to help you to connect with others. Social media is one of them, and then you also have the Kickstarter, and then you also have lots of the platform, which when you have some brilliant ideas, it's easy to connect with the people in all over the world, and then you can create something. And definitely, if there is someone can give you the funding, can give you the money to achieve your goal, okay, to make your dream come true. So it's quite important. And while you have the knowledge, so you have the power to move, okay, to move upstairs or to improve your life, okay, and also improve your social positions over the time. So the access to the ICT definitely is one of the starting point of how you can improve your social position and improve your life, wherever you are in the developing country, or wherever you are the maybe an elderly or the SEN student. When you have the ability to access to the technologies, you have a better chance, or you have larger chance to improve your life. Later we will have different kinds of global culture, and then say what's going on with the other people using the ICT to improve their life, to improve their social life, improve their social positions. Okay. And then there are different forms of the digital divide. Okay, so for your easy understanding, so we divide them into three. The first one is economic. Second is usability. The third one is empowerment divide. For the economics divide, for the easy understanding is yeah, you have enough money or not. So if you have enough money, so you can purchase the computer, you can purchase the broadband, you can purchase the all the ICT equipment that you need. Okay, so this economics divide is talking about how you can support, or we say that support the money for them to purchase the ICT service and also the ICT hardware. So in our course, definitely this one will not be considered, because we are not asking you to give the money to the SEN student or to the other people, right? So most likely this part is cared by the government or the policy makers. So they have some funding to support the schools, to support the low-income family or underprivileged group to access to the internet, and also to buy the computer. The second one is usability device. So most likely in our class we will talk about this one. This one, usability device, is say that you are able to use the digital content or not, okay, able to use the digital content or not. So most likely it care about the physical or mental disabled, okay. For example, there are lots of iPad, there are lots of the smart device, smartphone, etc., right? So do you have the power, for example, if you are blind people, do you have the power to access to this electronic device? Or if in our case we are talking about the SEN, right? So they have lots of different problems in next PowerPoint slide. In next video we will talk about the physical problem, mental problems, and other. So the SEN student, do they have the ability to control, for example, the small muscle to control and kick the iPad, to kick the smart device, or do they have the ability to IQ or IQ level to understand your meaning and somehow interact with your product? So this kind is called usability device, okay? So in short, if you have the physical problem, so the usability device, you can say that is hard to use, okay? But if you have some mental problem, so somehow they will cause the digital content is hard to understand, okay? Hard to understand. So in both cases, we need to care, and then in your reflective journal, most likely you can focus or target on the usability device, this part. So this is really important in our course. And then the third one will be empowerment, okay? Empowerment device here, okay? That means that you have the ability to create the content or not, okay? To produce the digital content or not, okay? So today there are lots of the platform, and then most of the platforms, they support the video, they support the text, they support the photos, right? So you can create lots of digital content, okay? So some of you guys are CD1, right? So you are read only, and then somehow you will not create the content. But with the power to create lots of the digital content, and then with the power to understand the algorithms of the searching engine or some other algorithm of YouTube or Facebook or other things, right? So they have the power to produce the digital content and then distribute or deliver this digital content to the others, okay? So the device, the gap between the empowerment of digital device is quite complicated. Of course, in this course, you can touch a little bit, right? For example, whether Ocean Path or whether the content provider, they have the ability, okay, they have the ability to distribute the digital content or not, okay? So if they do not have the ability to distribute the digital content to the SEN student, so can we fill up this gap and then create some products for them? So this is one of the interesting elements in our course, right? But most likely this one is cared by lots of the bigger issue. For example, whether you have the mechanism or whether we have the robot to generate digital content. So today you have lots of the things called content farms, right? So this kind of content farm is kinds of the technologies or kinds of the ICT, which is increasing the gap between for those people who can produce the digital content, and for those people just like the individual who cannot produce lots of the digital content and then communicate with others. While you are creating lots of the digital content, so somehow in this information age, so you are different the thinking of the other people, so somehow you have the power to control the others. But if you cannot create a digital content, and then you are a small individual and then cannot bring the awareness of the other, so somehow you are also underprivileged group, and then you are also suffer from the gaps of the empowerment divide. So for the usability divide that we have talked about is about the physical ability and also the mental ability, right, to access to the information on the web, okay? So one of the interesting points about the usability device is about the web accessibility, okay? Web accessibility. So in Hong Kong, most of our IT scheme is controlled by the OGCIO, okay? They define lots of the way for you to access to the information. So they define lots of the standards, and they redefine lots of the standard. And then if your project is good enough, so somehow you can apply the fundings of the digital device, okay, or digital inclusions of OGCIO. So exactly remember, they can give you 50,000 or up to 100,000 to support your applications, and then further extend to the other. So this is how the OGCIO is supporting the digital divide, okay, improving the problem of digital divide in Hong Kong. So one of their scheme is called web accessibility. Okay, web accessibility. So that means that when you create a website, so there is a system, or they have some guidelines, and then if you follow their guidelines, so somehow you can let as many people you can to access to the internet. For example, with the elderly, for example, with the colorblind, for example, with some of the blind people, they can still enjoy or retrieve the information of your website. Okay, so if you want to know more, so you can go to this website, yeah, and then whether chat with the standard. Okay, you can also go to the web accessibility of OGCIO and then chat with the standard. Okay. So yeah, one beside the old people, beside the blind people. So one of the good example about the web accessibility is about the colorblind. Okay, so for the colorblind, you can go to this website. Okay, this website. So yeah, we guys man well, not very good or not very sensitive to the color. So 8% of the male, they are colorblind, and only 1% of female, they are colorblind. So if you access to the websites and then you create by lots of the color, so definitely create problems for the colorblind people. So go to this website and then you can check whether your website can fulfill the needs or not. So if you have the colorblind, our computing website will be appear, something like that. Okay. So yeah, I guess you can pause this video again and then spend around 1 to 2 minutes to visit to the website and then check whether whether your website or whether some of the websites have care about the web accessibility.